Welcome back to ConsignPro Training. It's me, Brian, and today I'm going to take you through Module 4, which is going to include the report screen in ConsignPro. The report screen is where all system reports are created. We also print tags or labels from here, and I'm going to walk you through the report screen. First thing you'll notice on the report screen is that we have two tabs up top, Primary Reports and Other Reports. Primary Reports tab would really have all the reports you'll need on a daily basis to run your shop. The most comprehensive report and the best report for accounting purposes is the detailed version of the sales activity report, which happens to be the first report on the screen. You can run any of these reports by date range by putting in a start date and an end date. The sales activity report, as I mentioned, is our best accounting report. It's going to give you a breakdown of all sales for any period of time you'd like, broken down by payment type. The next report is our itemized sales report. That'll give you a list of all consigned items that got sold, and it'll also give you a list of all store-owned inventory that got sold. We have 4 types of inventory in the system: consigned, store, vendor, and then buy outright. Those 4 types of inventory will be covered in a later module, how to add each and how to account for each. The itemized sales report will show you 3 out of those 4 types, and the next report down on the screen, which is the vendor sales report, that'll show you the sale of all your vendor items. So if you wanted to see a list or a report with all individual items sold for any period of time, you'd really want to run the itemized sales report and follow that up with a vendor sales report. Those 2 reports together would give you a good picture of all items that got sold. Consignor payouts report will show you all of the payouts you've done to your consignors, whether those payouts were done as cash, check, store credit perhaps, or if you purchased items from your consignors and paid them cash on the spot. Those we call buyout rights, and we'll cover that in a later section. The income statement is a very good picture of your financial condition in the store. It's going to show you all the money that came in for sales, matching the sales activity report. And it's also going to show you what your cost of goods sold is. That is what you owe your consignors for those items that got sold. You can run that for any period of time you'd like by selecting the Pick My Own Dates option at the bottom. I also mentioned that not only do reports print on the screen, but tags or labels do too. Tags or labels, you're not going to put in dates, you're going to put in item numbers, and you're going to hit print. Or you can use our Any Unprinted checkbox. This will print items that simply haven't been printed yet. The system will then mark them as printed so they don't come out again. On the right side of the screen, we've got an aged inventory report, which will show you all items that are past their end date, which either need to be pulled for donation or returned to the consignor. We indicate that on the report whether the consignor wants the item back. Once you've done your pulls and you've returned or donated those items, it's important that you use our Quick Returns button on the main menu to change the status of those items. That will remove them from the next report that you run, and it will also tell the system that those items can be purged after about 1 year. We're going to go into quick returns a little later in this module. Our inventory lookup report is actually a big button, and if I click on that button, I get a new screen that pops up. This screen can be used to slice and dice your inventory any way you'd like. You can select by type, description, color, size, or really any field that you see on this screen. This is also a great screen to use if you've got a lost tag. Maybe you know something about the description, maybe you know something about the color, maybe you know the status is probably still available, or in the store, I think is one of our statuses too. In the store would be for a lost tag. It's in the store, I know something about the type or description. I then hit continue and I hit print, and it's going to show me a listing of all items that match that type and description. The more fields you put in on this screen, the smaller your report is going to be. The fewer fields that you use on the screen, the more items that are going to appear on this report. So using the screen takes a little bit of trial and error to get the right number of items on your report for kind of what you're trying to do. This report can also be used if you want to show a consignor a list of all things they've ever dropped off with you. You can say, put in consignor ID or start typing in their last name. You can say status is any status, and simply continue and print. That will be all items that ever came in for consignor number 1 will appear on one nice report. So it's a great report to hand to your consignors if they want to see what they brought into you. And again, you can limit the report, receive date ranges, end date ranges, sold date ranges. This screen is probably the most powerful report in the system when it comes to inventory. And as I said, you can really slice and dice your inventory any way you'd like. We got a Help Me button over here on the right. Basically, it's kind of going to talk to you about the things I'm talking to you about on this video. When you're done setting the conditions on the screen, you'll click Continue and then Print, and the report will print to either your screen or to the printer. The consignor report is a listing of all consignors in the system, and we've got some check boxes so that you can limit the consignors that appear on that report. Sort by most sales, that's your best consignor report. It'll be in the order of the consignors who have sold the most with your store. Balance is greater than 0, no active items left on account. You can kind of get the feel for it. And again, I would run, the different reports on this screen, print them to the screen after you've done a full day's worth of work, and just see what the reports contain. Some reports you'll use every single day, other reports you'll never use at all. Different stores have different needs. You'll notice up top we also have the Other Reports tab. And the Other Reports tab, we've got a whole bunch of other reports. Hourly sales report, sales by salesperson, markdown report, etc. My favorite report on this screen happens to be the end of day summary report. You can run this for any particular day you'd like, and you'll have a really neat consolidated picture of exactly what happened in your store that day. What your sales look like, what your payouts look like, how many items you added, how many consignors you added, refunds that were done, all on one piece of paper. If you've got our Star receipt printer attached to your computer, that end of day summary prints on a nice 3-inch wide receipt. If you don't have the Star, then it'll print on a full 8.5 by 11-inch page. Mailing labels are also produced from here. You can produce your mailing labels for your consignors, your customers, or both groups. You can also sort those by consignor number, name, or zip code. So that might be good if you're doing a mailing and you want to print physical mailing labels. We also have the ability to email from ConsignPro. We're going to cover that in a later module and show you how to email all of your consignors or all of your customers or both groups as well. On the right side of the screen, we've got some additional reports. Customer reporting happens to be a button as well. When I go into customer reporting, I can really target the customer group I'd like to look at on either a report, who are my best customers, what customers haven't been here in a while, etc. When I do that, I can either print this report to the screen and see a listing of all customers that meet that criteria, or if I click on mailing labels and say customers, this will actually pick up the criteria that I just set under customer reporting. So you can limit your customer mailing labels to pick up your customers you haven't seen in a while, or really any of the criteria that appears on the customer reporting screen. Lastly, we've got the appointment schedule. The appointment schedule we're going to cover, that's above our main menu. We've got something called Scheduler, and there you can schedule consignment appointments or really any other appointments you have during the day. So that is our primary report screen, our other report screen. Again, the most popular reports are our sales activity report, our income statement, the inventory lookup report, and on the other reports tab, the end of day summary. Now, most of those reports also print on our shutdown screen when you exit the system at the end of the day. I won't exit right now, but when you do, well, I will. On the shutdown screen, you're going to see we've got our sales activity report, itemized sales report, end of day summary. Those are 3 reports I'd probably print every day. And again, we're going to cover the options in the shutdown screen a little later on, but you'll see the screen every time you exit the software on your server computer. I'll cancel this. I'll jump back into ConsignPro and log back in. The cash drawer balancing screen you're going to see when you open and close the program. We're going to cover that screen in a later feature as well. That concludes pretty much the reports page. The quick return screen I'll cover next. The quick return screen is used to change the status of inventory. This is very useful or very necessary if an item doesn't sell. We need to tell the system what we did with that item that didn't sell. We may change it to returned, We may change it to donated. And again, on this screen, all you're going to do is pick up your scanning gun and start scanning barcodes. If you don't have a barcode, you can type in the item number and hit the enter key. It's important that you get inventory to a final status because the system will then clean up that inventory after a certain period of time, usually 1 year, and it will then reuse those item numbers. So in terms of the life cycle of an item, it comes into the store, it either gets sold, donated, or returned. Sold, we're going to handle that through our make sale screen. Donated or returned, you probably want to handle that through the quick return screen. That will tell the system the item's no longer in the store. So that's a very important screen to get used to and use for completing the item's life cycle and getting it out of the store. Well, that concludes this module. We've only have about 10 minutes for each training session. Look for us in Module 5, where we'll cover things like the wish list and some other great features within ConsignPro. Thanks.